never thought I'd be here, sitting on the cold, hard floor of a motel room with nothing but the weight of my mistakes bearing down on me. It's hard to believe how quickly everything can change in one night, how easily we can lose the life we thought we knew. It all started with a choice, one decision, one moment of weakness, and now I'm sitting here, homeless, broken, and begging for forgiveness. It wasn't always like this. I had a life, a family, a home. My husband, Alex, and I had been together for over a decade. We built a life together, one that seemed to be everything I could have ever wanted. He was steady, reliable, and we had a comfortable routine. Sure, things had gotten predictable, and the spark we once had seemed to dim, but I never thought it was anything that couldn't be fixed. I didn't realize how deep the hole of dissatisfaction had grown inside me until it was too late. I spent my days in the same routine. Get up, go to work, take care of the house, help with the kids. It was a comfortable life, but somewhere along the way, I started to feel like I was just going through the motions. I felt invisible. I wasn't the woman I once was, excited, driven, and full of life. I had become a role I was playing, someone's wife, someone's mother, but not me. Then he came into my life. His name was James. He was new at the office, my assistant project manager. He was younger, dynamic, and full of energy. From the moment we started working together, I felt something stirring inside me, something I hadn't felt in years. James wasn't just interested in the work. I could tell he noticed me. He would smile in a way that made me feel special. He'd ask how my day was going, genuinely listen when I spoke. It started innocently enough. Coffee breaks, casual chats during meetings, but before long, it became more. I tried to tell myself that it was harmless, that I was just being flattered, that nothing was wrong with seeking some attention from someone who made me feel like I mattered. But deep down, I knew I was crossing a line. I had stopped feeling seen at home, and now here was someone who made me feel alive again. The flirty conversations became more intense, and before I knew it, I was getting pulled into something I wasn't prepared for. I told myself it was just a distraction, a harmless escape from my uneventful life. But when James kissed me for the first time, all those excuses shattered. I kissed him back without hesitation. It felt like everything I had been missing: excitement, desire, connection. It felt like I was finally myself again. But guilt followed quickly. I didn't want to hurt Alex. I didn't want to tear apart my family, but the truth was, I didn't know how to stop. I told myself I would end it, that I could go back to being the woman my family needed. But every time I saw James, every time we spoke, the pull grew stronger. One night, everything came to a head. Alex was working late, and the kids were asleep. James came over, and what started as a quiet evening quickly escalated into something I couldn't control. We ended up in my bedroom, and it felt like the most alive I had ever been in my entire life. But as the night wore on, the reality of what I had done started sinking in. I was betraying the person who trusted me the most, the person I had promised to love and honor. The next morning, I tried to push the guilt aside. I told myself it would be okay. But then, something happened that I couldn't have predicted. Alex came home early. He'd been at a work event, and I hadn't even realized it. I didn't hear him come in, didn't even think about it. But then I heard it. The sound of footsteps upstairs. Panic shot through me. I looked over at James, who was still in my bedroom, fully dressed and trying to sneak out through the window. It was too late. Before I could stop him, Alex was at the door. He saw James climbing out of the window, his face twisted with disbelief and anger. I'll never forget the look in his eyes. I could see the hurt, the confusion, the pain. I couldn't even speak. I was frozen, paralyzed by the realization that everything I had worked for, everything I had taken for granted, was gone. "What the hell is going on here?" Alex yelled, his voice shaking with emotion. James, terrified, jumped out of the window and disappeared into the night. But it wasn't just about James. It was about me, about what I had done. I had crossed a line I couldn't come back from. And in that moment, Alex looked at me, not as the woman he loved, but as someone unrecognizable. "You're leaving," Alex said, his voice cold. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. I tried to apologize, tried to explain, but the words wouldn't come. What could I say? There was no excuse for what I had done, no justification. I had hurt him in the worst way possible, and in that moment I realized that I had lost everything. Alex didn't yell. He didn't scream. He didn't even ask questions. He simply turned and walked away. I could hear the sound of the front door closing behind him. The silence that followed was deafening. And in that silence, I understood the gravity of what I had just done. I spent the next few days in a daze. I didn't know what to do or where to go. My life had unraveled so quickly that I couldn't keep up. I called a few friends, but no one answered. I had burned bridges, and now I was left with nothing. I ended up at a cheap motel, alone. I sat there staring at the walls, thinking about how I had gone from having everything, my husband, my family, my life, to having nothing. My phone buzzed, but it was Alex. He had blocked me on everything. There was no way back. I was completely alone. Days turned into weeks. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't get back into the house. Alex didn't want me, and I didn't blame him. I had betrayed him, betrayed the trust we had built. And now I was left with nothing but my own guilt and regret. I tried reaching out to James, but he was gone too. He had moved on, and I was just a distant memory to him. I was left with the consequences of my actions, and no one to turn to. And now, here I am, sitting in this motel room, homeless, broken, and pleading for forgiveness. I've made the biggest mistake of my life, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if Alex will ever take me back. I don't know if I'll ever be able to repair the damage I've caused. All I can do now is sit here and hope that one day he will understand how sorry I am. That maybe, just maybe, I can make things right. But I don't know if that day will ever come. For now, I am left to live with the choices I made, and they are choices I will regret for the rest of my life.